Welcome to another great episode of Love It or Shove It. It's me, Irina Portnova, in the studio, and my co-host Bruno Gill. And we are super excited to introduce our guest who is with us today and the topic that she's going to be talking about. But before we dive in, just a couple of words about the show and the co-hosts. Well, love it to shove it. It's all about you either love the topics, the content, or you just say, you know what, it's not my cup of tea, and it's totally fine. That's the whole point of this talk show. But we talk on different topics related to love and relationships. And the more we learn, we are all growing together. Even us, as being here on this platform, it doesn't mean we know it all. It means we are learning together with you, our beautiful viewers. And just a few words about myself. My name is Irina Portnova, and I'm a manifestation star because I manifested lots of great things consciously. And I'm here to teach you how to do it. How do you actually tap to that love that it looks like in the magic? And I'm here with my co host, Bruno Gill. Bruno, just want to say a couple of words about yourself.
Yes, of course. So my name is Bruno. I'm a self-love coach. I also do other things on the side, of course. Um, I am 24 years old, and I help women become more authentic, become more expressive, love themselves a lot more, and be more confident as well in what they want to do in life and how they operate in their world as well. So that's what I do.
Mhm. I love that. And we are here to introduce our dear guest, Amy Collard. Drum rolls. Amy, tell us about yourself and how do you support this world?
I'm Amy Keller. I'm an intimacy coach, and I became the help that my husband and I needed, but we couldn't find. I am a certified couples and sex therapist. I research neuroscience. I'm certified in Tantra. I've been practicing for 25 plus years. And I could see that there was a real missing link between men and women and how to make long-term relationships work. And
Mm,
I'm going to just share, I myself found myself in a relationship that was sexless and stuck. And I didn't get married till my mid 30s. So I knew that everybody around me was going through the same thing. And I'm like, where is the help? Where somebody to teach us about what intimacy is and how to grow it in a long-term relationship. And so I did a 25-year deep dive. I've never stopped into the neuroscience of relationships, the history of relationships, all of it. Fascinating science.
mm.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I love that. I love that. And it's super important to talk about it because a lot of people kind of just put the sex and intimacy like to the side. They worry too much about just, like finances, about just day to day life. But this is super important because if we are not filling our cup, right? If we are not loving ourselves, our partner, our bodies, how can we actually show up our best versions outside of the bedroom, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Yes. So I'm super excited about our conversation today. Different rhythms, same bed. Emmy,
Mm.
I know that since you are supporting so many clients and couples who are going through that, and totally, I think it's majority of the people are dealing with that, where the sex drive could be different between a man and a woman in the, in the couple. So tell us, just start us off. Just first of all, I think this is the topic that relates to majority of the people. So we do not want to feel like somebody is alone on this journey.
Oh, yeah, no, we're not alone. This is absolutely so normal. And when I describe it to you, it's going to be like, oh, duh.
Mm-hmm.
So when you talk about people have different desires when it comes to the bedroom, the word for that is libido.
Yep.
And libido literally means sexual appetite.
Mm-hmm.
And in my work, I've redefined sex as pleasure because pleasure is the most missing element from a great sexual encounter.
Mhm.
And because the word sex refers to procreation, it's biology, it's
Mhm.
literally how you have babies. But
Mhm.
intimacy and being a lover and a sensual pleasure giver and receiver, that's next level. And that's what we want to get into a relationship for. And it seems, before we get into a relationship, that our desires match because it's biology.
Mhm.
Science wants us to be in a relationship. We are literally wired to be in long-term relationships. But biology has us have different appetites because we're human. So if you think of it like your appetite for food,
Mhm.
then you'd say we're not hungry at the same time.
Mhm.
We're not
So
hungry.
true.
Yeah,
I
and we
love that.
yeah, and we don't not hungry for the same thing at the same time.
Mhm.
And when it comes to the bedroom, just like when it comes to bedroom, if you say, okay, well, what do you want? It's sort of like asking, what do you want for dinner? It is literally the sound of boredom. I don't know, whatever you want. So, so if you think of your libido as your appetite, then if you start setting a system for it, which is sort of what society has done with our eating system, you eat breakfast, you eat lunch, you eat dinner. Some people have snacks. Some people have a bigger appetite than others. But if you say we're eating dinner at 6 o'clock tonight, then you sort of, your body goes, okay, well, I'm going out to dinner at 6 o'clock tonight. You start to picture where you're going. We go for pizza every Friday night. You're like, oh, we're going to our pizza place tonight. I love that pizza place. What do I want when I get there? I don't know. I'll decide when I get there. Where the other one, who has spontaneous desire, usually the man, if I'm thinking of it this way, is going, oh, we're going for pizza tonight. I love their pepperoni. I can't wait. I want a whole pepperoni pizza. I want to eat the whole pepperoni pizza by myself. That's what he's thinking before he gets there. And the woman is going, oh, we're going for pizza tonight. Ooh, I love pizza. Not going to think about it. Just getting back to what I got to do today, because women work, our brains work in lists. Men's brains work in reward. Totally different. So she's thinking, okay, if we're going for pizza tonight, I have to shave my legs, need to take a shower. She's literally prepared. I gotta make plans for the kids. Is this done? Is the oven off? Where he's just going, pizza, are we there yet? What's taking you so long? Because he doesn't work in lists.
Mhm.
So when they get, if that's why I say going into a relationship is sort of like committing to going to the same pizza parlor for the rest of your lives. And if you keep going to the same pizza parlor for the rest of your lives and having that same old, as I say, mushroom pizza, and I'll tell you a story about that, then you're going to like go, okay, yeah, all right. And that's how I describe it. People get into a relationship. Kevin and Jackie get into a relationship. They love each other. They move in together. They're like, I want you to be happy. I want you to be happy. I like pepperoni pizza. I like pineapple pizza, but we both like mushroom pizza. So let's get the mushroom pizza. And then it's 2 years later, and they're both getting sick of mushroom pizza. Neither one of them is getting their pepperoni or their pineapple. So it seems like they don't have desire. Do you want pizza? Yeah, okay. I'll give you what you want, but this isn't what I want. How do I get what I want? So if you think about libido as literally your appetite for pleasure, and if you think about it like your appetite for pizza, where you go to the pizza parlor and you're like, ooh, what do I want? Ooh, I've had that before. That was good. Oh, wow, that's new. I want to try that. Oh, that's way out of my comfort zone. We have to work our way there. And I literally say, you know how much pizza somebody had to have before they started stuffing the crust with extra cheese and jalapenos and rolling it in? So it's like if you keep playing with it, you keep expanding your menu. And then you also knew your comfort zones, which is mushroom or the pepperoni and the pineapple. Oh, you just want a little comfort zone. And like I say, we also have different appetites. Sometimes we go to the pizza parlor and you just want a piece of pizza. I just want to I want to be a little bit satisfied, and I want to take the leftovers home. Because if you just ooh, I'm a little bit satisfied. When you wake up that next morning, you're like, ooh, there's leftovers in the kitchen because it's the pizza that you want. So when you think about it like appetite, then you're getting what you want. And if you think of desire, your appetite is your libido, and your desire is what you're in the mood for at any given moment. So a lot of times people in relationships are saying, I'm not in the mood because they're picturing that they have to go to the pizza parlor, they have to get the pizza, they have to eat the whole pizza. That's a lot of pressure. So if instead you think of your desire as I'm going to the pizza place, what do I want? And that is how you know that's the difference between libido and desire. Libido is how hungry you are, and you can train yourself to be hungry, just like we've trained ourselves to be dinner hungry at 6 p.m. Mm-hmm.
I love everything what you share. Bruno, would you like to say something about it?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So, I mean, I really like what I heard about. It's all about training. It's all about training ourselves to get us into, I'd say, into a love routine, right? Obviously, we have different routines, but if we're able to have a love routine and keep consistent with that, instead of just intense whenever the need comes. If the need never comes and you never do it, and things go away. But if you're able to practice that consistency, and it's not about doing it when you don't want it or when you don't feel like it, because you should always. I wouldn't say you should always, but you should want to feel like you want to be with your partner, right? Um, but at the same time, I guess if I was to do that, which we all have to do it eventually for a relationship to work, which is be consistent with one another, is seeing our partner more than just what the partner is for, is seeing the partner as a friend, seeing the partner as somebody that I can have a completely different intimacy and relationship with, and seeing somebody who never leaves, who I know that at that time of the day, of the week, you are for me and I am for you, and that's it, nothing else. And for example, even if we don't have a lot of time to speak throughout the week, we very gladly have that time of the week where we can speak everything we want, and we have enough time for each other, right? And so, I guess that's the thing, which is seeing your partner as more than just what your partner is for. Your partner is not just to use for procreation and venting and stuff. It's also to tell the good news if there is any, speak about different things, have open conversations, and just somebody that you can have a nice friendship with, apart from all the rest that we already know it's there. Hopefully, I don't believe in sexless marriages. It's a bunch of bullshit.
Well,
But
right.
yeah, for me, my opinion, only my opinion.
Oh, well, I agree with you. That's why I'm here, because I found
Yeah.
myself in a sexist relationship. But I just want to speak to this one piece where you were saying that some people don't need it, and that they have to do it when they don't feel it. And I actually believe that we are wired to connect. So when people are
Yeah.
resisting connection,
Mhm.
physical or emotional, that's usually it's like a fear, or a fear of doing it wrong, or that their partner has different expectations on it. And that there are a lot of people who go into relationships who can't have sex. I'm letting you know that because that was my situation. I married my husband knowing that he had had prostate issues and erectile dysfunction. And if you're married to somebody long enough, there are going to be a lot of times when they can't have sex, or procreative sex, or
Mhm.
penetrative sex. There are a lot of times in people's
Mhm.
lives, especially nowadays, diabetes is on the rise, heart attacks are on the rise. Um,
Mhm.
Erectile dysfunction is unspoken about, but truly affecting so many guys who aren't even in relationships. So if you think of it as a sensual encounter where you're awakening your whole body, that's
Mm.
something that you wouldn't share with just anybody. Because that's what I say, anybody can do it. But being good at it, exploring it, and being vulnerable in it, that takes trust. And that's the part that people aren't
Mhm.
doing. Men will say to me, I want to explore, and I'll go, you don't know what you want to explore. That's sensual pleasure. That's that all
Right.
exploration happens before poking, as I say. And also we want to be able to
Mhm.
talk about
Mhm.
everything and have open conversations. But from my experience, and I have a master's in communication, and I am a couples therapist. That's all you learn in couples therapy is talk, which is why it doesn't work. I love you, therapists, but
Mm.
the reason we can't talk openly and talk about everything and it feels like all we're doing is venting and not even sharing the good things is because it's so hard to talk about intimacy. So I
Mm.
literally teach people a formula. I see joining a relationship, committing to a relationship. The change is that now we get into a relationship and we figure it out. People get married, they have a prenup in case it doesn't work, in case we find ourselves with different
Mm.
rhythms in the same bed. So if you have different rhythms in the same
Mm.
bed and you're not feeling emotionally and physically connected, which is what we go into a relationship
Mm.
for, that's why people start looking outside because they don't feel like they can get their needs met. And we can't talk about it. So I hear lots of people who say, well, why didn't
Mm.
you talk to me before you started cheating? And I'll be over here going, how could they have talked about it? I'm sure they brought up what their needs were many times, but you couldn't hear them because the words sex, the words expectations, the words you have to. I don't want to live in a sexless relationship. How do you have those? I don't know you. As a matter of fact, I made a post on Instagram one time and it just said, refusing intimacy with your partner is cheating. And I had women went nuts. They were so angry. And I was like, wait, go to this next page. Go to the next page. Intimacy is the ability to connect in
Mm.
silence. Lots of women, lots of couples are talking about everything. This is the good. This is how my day was. This is how my day was. But actually, those kinds of words will keep us apart from each other. I say that sometimes people are talking
Mm.
so that they can feel connected without having to be intimate. Real intimacy comes from being
Mhm.
silent. Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I love what you share, Amy, and I wanted to add because communication is the key, and how many couples do not know how to communicate, right? Because again,
Mm.
not everybody's open. Like me and Bruno, we are very open. We are very direct, right? And this was something I always had in me, but a lot of people do not, right? And especially maybe it could come from the woman who was brought up like to be that good girl syndrome, right? Where she even doesn't know how to express her desires. And I feel a lot of times that is a biggest block in the good intimacy, because if the person doesn't know how to express, whether maybe a man feels like if he is going to express himself, a woman is going to think he's a pervert, right? And for a woman to have that status or image of so good, like how do you know about this? Wait a second, who did you try it with, right? So there is a lot of judgment, there is a lot of shame around it. And I feel that, like for us, because we are here to be free spirited, to experience the life with all the colors and with all the desires, and like really feel that libido, right? We got to be open about it.
Mm-hmm. Uh, the issue with a woman's desire is that her desire when she's before she gets into a relationship changes the minute she gets into a committed relationship. When a woman is single, her desire comes from being desired by others. For a man, a lot of that is similar, which is why people will like then get into a relationship and they'll get attention from somebody else and they go, huh, I still got it. But your actual desire comes from you. we are being lied to if we think, I want that. I want that person. And men are trained like that because their desire comes from a physical response within them, a physiological response by an external or even a thought, which is why men, when they have a desire, they have an external desire meter. Oh, look, I must be hungry. And then they look at a woman and they're going, oh, look, you made me hungry. Aren't you excited? Don't you want some of my pizza? Because look how hungry I am. So once she gets into a relationship, her desire changes. And also women don't talk about sex and men don't talk about it either. We use different languages for it. That's why I say women like to talk about love. Men like to make love. Women talk about their feelings. Men need to feel in order to have their feelings. So it's the same word, but they have different meanings, different languages. And then they're going, well, why don't you understand me? Because if a man says my need for love comes from physical, she's going to get defensive, and that's not fair. The women who were in my program, a discussion we had last night was she was sharing one of the biggest things that she learned was to not shame him for his appetite, for his need. As she said, I don't shame him any longer for needing to blow his wad. That was the phrase that she used, because she was going, that's what I feel like he needs. And I said, and you're going to shame him for that? That sexual shame that we put on men, quite frankly, I can take a direct line to why that's affecting men's prostates. Mm-hmm. Which is why in my program, in my advanced couples program, I teach I have a lesson on teaching prostate massage, because it was my husband, because so many men these days think that it's just a necessary thing, and it isn't. And I also teach G-spot massage, because those are the ultimate. They're the ultimate, and you have to be at this advanced level of communication in the moment. So talking about your day, talking about your venting, talking about the things that are great that are going on. I agree with you, Bruno. That is what you want to be able to do with your best friend. But how do you talk about or express what you're liking in the moment? How does a woman say, oh my God, stop doing that? It feels like sandpaper. Mm-hmm. How do you go a little? Can you just move a little to the left? And so many women are like, if I tell him that didn't work or that I didn't like that, it becomes a criticism. So how do you actually do that? So I see committing to an intimate relationship, I literally use it as if you're committing to a sports team, because that's what it should be. Yes, Bruno, you're a great player. You know what you're doing. That's why you made the team. And Rena, you know how to respond to him and throw that ball back, and you guys can have, that's why you made the team. But once you actually go, okay, we got picked for the team, you and I, we got picked for the team, we're doing this team thing. If you went into that team thing and your skills didn't change and your communication didn't change and you didn't have practices and you didn't have games, you'd be going, we're fine. We're fine. It's okay. We'll be in the same mood at the same time. It's someday. No, you won't. Because your desires have now changed because you're in a relationship. That's why men will be like, what do you want? And you're like, you're in a relationship now. You're going, I want you to make dinner. Can somebody do the laundry?
Totally. I just, Amy, that's what I wanted to point out, why that desire is shifting, because it's not only because people are constantly with each other, but there are a lot of responsibilities that come with being with each other, right? That they did not have when they just dating. So that's another.
I'm going to interrupt you just because it's such a good one. It's not just the responsibility. Have you heard of the power struggle? I'm just curious. Do you know about the power struggle? I'm going to describe the power struggle for you, if I may.
Sure.
Bruno, have you ever heard of the power struggle phase of a relationship?
I mean, okay. I can imagine what it is, but I never actually heard it.
Okay, so the power struggle, thank you. The power struggle is a part of every single relationship. A romantic relationship, a work relationship, even a sports team. And I like to describe it the best through a sports team, because that's the metaphor that I use. It's like, okay, we made the team. We're on the team. We've got the same name on our jersey. We're going to go to the Super Bowl. This is going to be great. And then you're like, okay, come on, guys. We got to practice on Monday. We're going to throw the ball back and forth. I already know how to throw the ball. Don't tell me how to throw the ball. You drop the ball. You need to throw the ball higher. I already know how to throw the ball. Don't tell me. Guys, we're throwing the balls. Now you're going to run laps. I don't need to run laps. Can't we just play the game? I don't need to practice. Yeah, you do. That is the power struggle. And that's what happens in every relationship. Can you take the trash out? I'm not taking the trash out. I'm not getting my needs met. That's the power struggle. That is natural part of anything. It happens the same as an office and a team. You'd be going, okay, you do this. I do. Don't tell me what to do. I'll get it done when I want to do here. We're going to meet here at 8. I'm not in till 9. It's those kinds of things. That's the power struggle. And that's really starts to affect every relationship. That's why that's why people say sex stops when you get in a relationship, because it is the thing that's kept in the basement, as I explained. So if you're going to therapy, you're talking about the argument that happened in the living room. You're not actually talking about the lack of intimate connection. And same with sex therapy. I hate to break it to you, but sex therapy is still talking. They're telling you to go on a date night, give each other massages. I was there. I literally remember going, are you kidding me? If we could give each other massages, I have a touch of gold. We wouldn't be in your office. If date nights worked, then people wouldn't be getting divorces. If therapy worked, then people wouldn't be getting divorces. So once you get into a relationship, that power struggle happens. Therapists know that, so they have you talking through it. Does the baseball team talk through it? No, they have a practice, and because they show up, and because they have that one moment called a huddle, that's where they drop their defenses. And because athletes are finest specimens to be able to look at, but they're born, because it's human, to be defensive and to be competitive, which is human. It's our human nature. But they literally practice so that they can drop their defenses and remind themselves that they're on the same team. Otherwise, they'd be going, well, you dropped the ball last time. I'm not throwing it to you again. And that's what happens in relationships. But because we have a practice, because I give people a practice, you're going to connect. You're going to have, she's going to pick her pizza this week. You're going to pick the pizza next week. And you're going to learn to love giving her the pizza that she really wants. Well, what if I don't want to do that? I don't want to do that. Trust me, when you are the one giving your partner that weird pizza that they wouldn't share with anybody but you, it is bonding. So that's how I look at desire and so what I find is that when that man knows that he is really taking care of her needs, and for my couples, that looks like, that doesn't necessarily mean that she had an orgasm. It means that she really enjoyed it and it left her wanting more. That's the biggest thing. It left her wanting more. And the way that we do that is we have a communication afterwards. I teach a communication system. I teach an initiating system. I teach a way to connect called the huddle. I teach a way to initiate, start every encounter the exact same way. You're going to the pizza place. You take the same route there every time. That way, while you're driving to the pizza place, you're literally going, oh, right, we're going to the pizza place. It starts to become a routine. And people, humans, thrive in routine. But our sensory system craves variety. So you want to take the same routine to get to the pizza parlor. And then when you get there, you want to explore the menu because you trust that pizza parlor. You go there all the time. So that's how you are able to talk about it. So my couples are now like, I just had a couple say the other day, he said to me, because I have men's room and women's room, he said, yes, it was great that this program, I was able to experience a number 11 orgasm on a scale of 1 to 10. He said, you're totally right. That exists. I've experienced it. But the best part of all is that we can talk about sex. That she can bring it up and go, that didn't work, or I'm having this pain, or let me get a try of this. She can actually talk about it. She can actually say, I know we have Saturday night planned, but something else came up. Let's move it to Sunday, where she's aware of it instead of just trying to avoid it or get away from it. And it's amazing. Yeah.
And
So
Amy, I love what you're sharing. You're actually, describing exactly therapy versus coaching, because
mhm.
a lot of people are still under the impression that, coaches are like therapists, or we do not need a coach, we need a therapist. And not to say that therapy is not needed, but therapy is more like going into the past and digging, while coaching is, let's move on, let's do something about it, let's activate whatever is inside of you and see the difference that you can actually experience.
Yeah, exactly. And even when I was studying to be a sex therapist, even then I called myself an intimacy coach because I was also working with clients in my office. And I call myself that because the word sex triggers women and the word therapy triggers men. So
Yeah.
people understand what intimacy is, yeah. And men understand what a coach was. And I've been using a sports analogy for forever because my clients weren't coming to me for therapy. They were coming to me for solutions.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
mhm,
Yeah. I
I
I
love
don't like the
that.
word therapy.
Yeah,
right.
I don't
it's
even.
it's
I just don't believe in it. I just don't know how talking about my problems gonna fix anything. Honestly, just gonna make me think about how I have a problem.
I think it's really good for sometimes processing your problems, but I actually have research in my book, a lot of research in my book that says that whether you're the one talking about your problems or the one listening to the problems, as in being the therapist, it actually causes a brain
Mm.
disorder. So the more we talk about our brains or problems, the more they do this. And there's tons of research showing that the cure for depression, um, what's called addiction, is connection. But they don't teach you how.
Mhm.
They just have you talking, and
Mhm.
talking doesn't connect us. Anything you say
Mhm.
can and will be used in a court of law held against you.
Mhm.
Amy, can
Mhm.
you share some tips, like some tools for the people to actually, again, like I love that example with the pizza and everything, but something simple that our listeners can try and just, explore.
Gladly. That is my tool, the huddle. And it is my goal to share it with the whole world. And it is literally this. That's it. It is so expressive. It connects you with your nervous system. It connects you with your partner when you do it intentionally. And even if we're just talking and you're going, oh, huh? Those are little huddle sounds that let me know that you're with me. Even when you disagree and go, huh? You're still with me even though you disagree, which is fine. We don't have to agree on everything. We just need to be in connection. I need to know that you're
Mhm.
with me. You care enough along to go along for the ride. So when you use those sounds, and I can hear him doing that, those are your huddle sounds. It's also the sound of consent. So that's how you
Mhm.
read your body when you take her to the pizza place. When you go to that pizza place and you look at that pizza and you go, cheese, And when you're with your partner, and even though you're looking at your partner and going, oh my God, the same old slice of pizza, you again. If you hold them in a hero hold, which I talk about in my TED Talks, where you hold your partner from behind and you stay still. No moving hands, keep yourself still. And as a woman, if you're holding your partner from behind and your face is a little pressed up against his back and you're going, I don't care if you're thinking about your partner or Brad Pitt, as I say, or a pizza, it's still going to have the same physiological response on you. And if you make that sound, you can even fake it, you'll feel that your mouth gets moist. That's your salivary glands that get activated. The salivary glands, your entire glandular system, your sex glands, this activates your sense of desire. And it indicates what you're in the mood for. What are you in the mood for? Oh, you don't know? Then take her to her comfort zone, which is probably a cheese pizza, extra cheese in my case. And if she's going, what are you in the mood for? I mean, those little responses can really tell you. So if you're using those sounds during an encounter, And you don't have to wonder if your partner's enjoying it or if they're there or if they're checked out, because you can't be thinking about
Mm.
trying to finish or trying to get in the mood or trying to figure out what to say while you're making these sounds. And if you're going to your partner, and you're like hearing that, then you know something's not right there. And like I say, if the sound stops, the action stops, because that means that one or the other of
Mhm.
you is in their head.
I
So,
love that.
yeah, it's a really powerful tool. Very powerful.
Beautiful. And I think also more like, like be curious with each other and experiment and just, voice out what you like, what you want to try, because it's also very important.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of people don't know what they like and what they want to try because they haven't tried it.
Mm-hmm.
And what you liked
Mm.
with one person is
Yeah.
not what you're necessarily going to like with the other person. So I actually teach people a process, like I said, how to get to the pizza parlor. I literally teach you, do this route every time. This is your starting, just like a football team. This is your starting move, and this is your starting position. And from there, the game unfolds. And I even teach people what to do
Mhm.
when they get to the goal line, like how to have a better goal, how to make that play together. Because maybe, one of you can finish or the other of you can finish. But like a football team, when they're in it and they're pressed against that thing and you're throwing the ball back and forth, one of you makes that goal, but you've both made it together. And
Mm.
that's what makes it even bigger, even better. You can only focus on one goal at a time. So the biggest mistake that I see that
Mhm.
people make is that they get into a sexual relationship, an intimate relationship, and they go into the field of play and they try to hit two different goals on the same game. They try
Mhm.
to hit her goal. Okay, you're done. Now I'm going to hit my goal. That's not your best game. Now that you've actually made it to the team, now that you're actually in a team, you both want different games. One of you likes soft touch football. The other one of you likes hard football. They're different games. So go in and let's work on her goal this time.
Mm.
And next time we're going to work on his goal. And that's how I teach people to do it. And that's amazing. And I teach you how to explore, literally, because people go, okay, how to explore? What am I exploring? And there are lots of, one a very famous therapist who's always saying, you need to be more creative. You need to talk about what you want. You can't. Your body speaks for you. Your body is the one that goes, ooh. So those are the sounds that you learn with your team. Just like a football team, they're not in the field going, "I'm throwing you the ball. I like it when you throw it to the left." No, you're going, oh. Those little signals are how our nervous
Mm.
systems speak to each other.
Awesome, beautiful. So we are getting on the end of our show. Just wanted to say thank you so much for this beautiful show, for showing up, for explaining to us with the example of pizza, with the example of football team and the playing, and for everybody who wants to explore more. There are links to connect with Amy. Amy, do you have like any free resource for people? How do they connect with you?
I have a book that they can download for a little bit of money off of my site or off of Amazon. I have a 10 truths about intimacy. I have a YouTube channel, Instagram. Check out my TED Talk. I am
Mhm.
totally available. I'd love to have people learn to be partners and lovers, make it work from the beginning. Mhm.
Absolutely. I love it. And it's all about just, deciding that you want that, knowing that intimacy is something that makes us happy, makes us alive, and just, go and be that best player that we possibly can.
Yeah.
Thank you so, so much. And for everybody, reach out to Amy, and we'll see you on the next episode. Bye.